Hello everyone, this is Endgame Art. We're doing an unboxing and breakdown of the demo. This is Sudden Strike 4, the complete edition for the PlayStation 4. Now to jump right into it, there were no updates available since the making of this video, and all currently released DLC and updates are on disc. So this essentially is a complete all-around edition of Sudden Strike 4. This comes with the expansions of Road to Dunkirk, as well as the expansion Finland Winter Storm, as well as Africa Desert War, and the Pacific War, as well as the original base game, all on disc. As I said previously, all recent updates and so forth are all on disc as well. The game will say its version is 1.00, but sometimes developers, when they release these complete edition, Game of the Year editions, and so forth, they reset the version number back to its original 1.00, even though the content updates and so forth are on disc, because they kind of see it as a new version of the game. It's like it's starting off from 1 to up from the complete edition, if you can understand what I'm meaning. So don't worry, all content and updates are on disc for this version, which is, again, really nice. This is what I expect when I buy a complete edition, Game of the Year editions, and so forth. It's what we're supposed to be getting when we pay for that kind of the waiting time, as well as just paying for on-disc Game of the Year edition. Now, as well as it comes with a special little piece of paper that will allow you to digitally download like a soundtrack and so forth, but that's just digitally download, an art book and so forth. Now, as I said, it comes with everything, so the original campaign story is there, and you can decide to play as the Germany, Soviets, as well as the Allies. And as well as all the other DLC expansions also come with 2 variations. You got the Japanese and the US, you got the Finland and Soviets and so forth. It's really nice where you can try to play both sides. You're not just forced to be either the bad guy or the good guy. You can just decide who you want to play as on that story. Now, the game Sudden Strike 4 is a strategy RTS kind of style kind of game. Though, if you're going into it with no knowledge of Sudden Strike 4, it's not a base building kind of game like Command & Conquer and so forth. They give you a preset number of units, and you gotta must try to complete the mission with that set units. But what is nice, though, is every mission you can decide what general you want to use. Every campaign will allow you to pick from 3 different generals, and all 3 generals will have a specific skills and assets that they can bring to the field of that mission. One general will be more focused on infantry, another general will focus more on armor, like tanks and so forth, and another general will focus on support, like ammo, fuel, and like artillery strike and so forth. That's my particular favorite. I've always loved artillery cannons. I love what they can do. But the game, as I said, is set in a real-time strategy kind of game, and there's no base building. Now, you could get reinforcements here and there, but you are working with what they give you. So it's very important to try to keep all your units alive and healthy and well, as well as using very strict strategic planning. Again, the game is followed strongly, of course, with strategy. So if you try to rush in your units into the battlefield, you are most likely going to lose, or you'll just come out hardly on top because then you're damaged so badly and you got to still complete the next mission. So it's always important to use a lot of strategy, move slowly, take your time, and try to keep your men alive. Now, the game functions really well on console. I know a lot of people would say that it's better to play strategy games on PC with mouse and keyboard, and that is generally true. Mouse and keyboard will work a lot better for strategy games, but I've always had this fondness and love for strategy games on consoles. I think it's cool to try to emphasize the controls and functions to make it work. And I thought they did a pretty good job. It wasn't really clunky. At moments it can be a little tedious from the switching from circle and X. I found this a little annoying sometimes where you can control the characters with circle, and next minute you gotta use circle to cancel out. It was a little up and down in that area, but that was the only time I had a struggle. I love the fact you can spin the camera, you can zoom in with the camera, although I wish you could zoom in a little bit more and zoom out a little bit more. And I like how everything's pretty quick and snappy. You can just hold R1 and immediately bring up a menu and so forth. So it's really quick and really smooth. They did a really good job with a controller for a strategy game. And I hope to see more companies and so forth use a good balance like this for strategy games, because I love strategy games. I used to spend hours and days playing Command & Conquer on the PS1 and so forth. So the game is good. I did have a great time. Every level took me about 30 minutes to complete, maybe a little longer depending on how fast you want to move. I'm glad there's no time limit, or at least I didn't come across any missions with a time limit yet. so you can play at your own pace. I love all the strategicness with it. Like, when you can't just rush in your tanks, you got to make sure you keep your tanks well fueled up, as well as make sure it has ammo. You got to keep your infantry's ammo reserved. I like how the medic, I don't have to always order him to go heal somebody. He'll just automatically go do it himself. So that's really nice. It makes things fast, smooth, and just a better experience. And just like I said, you got to make sure to use a lot of strategy in the game, and that's something I really like too. But in the end, though, due to the fact the game doesn't have base building, once you've completed all the missions and so forth, there's hardly any reason to come back, and there's not a lot of replay value in terms of going back and trying to different build-up bases and so forth. Now, the game does have a skirmish mode where you can just play a normal battle and a preset level and so forth. More focused on online, of course, but you can still play against computer and so forth with it. But it doesn't have that same appeal as the campaign. You gotta rush in there, capture the bases and so forth, and you got a preset number of units as well. It wasn't really my jam. I particularly always like the base building side of it. But for a complete edition of this, with all the content you can get with it, it is a good amount of fun. I could see where a lot of people complained about the original vanilla one, where it didn't have much to the game, because without all the DLC and so forth, I can see the game being pretty quick and pretty simple to get through, and just only having 3 missions. But all the DLC and content added to it gives a lot more replay value, so I really recommend, if you're going to get it, of course, get the complete edition. Now, I do not know if your save file will transfer over with this one. I can't say whether it will or not, due to the fact it is a different version, the complete edition, as well as that I never owned the original first vanilla version. I almost bought it, but due to the fact I heard a lot of bug problems and so forth, and just a lot of complaints, I decided to hold off, and I'm glad I did, because I picked up the complete edition. Again, I had a lot of fun. I still having fun with it. I still got a lot of other missions I got to complete and get 3 stars. And it's a good little game if you're into strategy games on consoles. It's a fun little game here that you can pick up, as well as if you want to support all on disc complete edition version of games. So, thank you all for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos from me. And I'll see you guys in my next episode. Bye-bye!